Okay, so firstly, please excuse the shortness of this review and any slurring that happens during this review as well. About 18 hours before going to see this film, a sore throat kicked in, followed by a whole night of on and off sleep, haven't had much sleep. So I'm not really feeling 100% right now. But you're okay, you're on the other side of this screen. You can't catch anything, so stay tuned for an infectious-free review of AD ASTRA.
This is Major Roy McBride. I'm attempting to reach Dr. Clifford McBride. This is Dr. McBride's son. Dad, I'd like to see you again.
So AD ASTRA, which means to the stars in English. It's about Brad Pitt's character. He's an astronaut called Roy who believes that his dad died a few years ago in space on a mission to Neptune to find just proof of like other life out there in the universe. But it turns out his old man might still be alive, so he goes looking for him, like you would do, wouldn't you, if you had a spaceship. So from the lift off, it felt like this film had been influenced by a lot of space movies, particularly those kind of space movies from the 70s. But the opening was kind of like that film Gravity that came out a few years ago. The tone and the look of the film was kind of like 2001: A Space Odyssey. And it had this kind of like urgency feeling to the film like Interstellar had. You know, this film, it didn't overdose on CGI, and when there was CGI, it wasn't too much in your face. And instead it just made you question if that was CGI you saw, or if that was like an actual miniature. It was really difficult to tell if they used CGI or miniatures in this film. I also saw this film in IMAX, and it was really good watching it in IMAX because looking at the artwork of all the planets, it just made it really captivating when you look at it on the screen. The film was quite steady pace all the way through. So much so that I can only count on one hand like 2 things that happened that were really intense. The rest of it is just kind of like stayed the same the whole way through. It wasn't really a roller coaster ride that much. But this kind of meant that the engagement of the film kind of relied heavily on the story and Brad Pitt's performance in the film, and both of these were definitely pulled off really well because the story was good and so was Brad Pitt's performance in the film. It felt like it was trying to get a few messages across to the audience as well. I could have done with some sore throat messages just to help me with that. There was no remedies for sore throats in there at all, which wasn't great, but you know, it was not a film about sore throats, is it? But it felt like there was a few messages in this film that they were trying to get across to the audience. Mostly that we should just stop fighting with one another over like things and just, I guess, you know, resources, and that we should really appreciate what we've got while we have it. And there were story elements in there as well that made it quite believable. Like for example, being able to go to the moon, like take a rocket to the moon, is like jumping on a plane to go to Australia, unless you live in Australia. And guess the name of the company that provides the rocket? And guess the name of the company that provides the rocket to the moon? It's Virgin Atlantic, which fits in with Richard Branson's real life interest in taking passengers up into space. So it was a good movie, but because of the pace and because of the length, because it is 2 hours long, I think I would struggle to sit through it again. It's one of those films that once you've seen it once, you're done. So if you do have 2 hours of your life spare, and if you can up your game and see it in IMAX as well, this will definitely feel like you've seen a movie that hasn't taken up a massive chunk of your life.
We have a job to do. Are you ready?
I'm ready.